Hi, this is a Geometry Nodes tutorial for beginners. We are creating this animation in Geometry Nodes. This video will help you to learn about Geometry Nodes in Blender 3.5. You can use these techniques in your other projects. First we add a grid node. Type grid in the search bar of the Blender Add menu. Go to wireframe mode to see the grid. You can add more vertex to grid. Now add an instance on points node. We are building the basics first, then we can build on it. Add a curve line node as the instance. Curve line only has 2 points in it, start point and end point. You can add more points to the line using a resemble curve node. I want to instance some objects on top of line. The objects only needed on some of the top points, not the whole line. We can duplicate the instance on points node. Press Shift-D command to duplicate anything in Blender. You can use most of the Blender shortcuts in Geometry Nodes too. We need a join geometry node. It will join the curve line and the new objects as one object, otherwise it only shows the last instanced objects. I am instancing a icosphere as my top object. The default radius of icosphere is 1 meter. Reduce the radius to small numbers. Now the line only has 2 points. We need to add more points. Add a resemble curve node to the curve line. The curve now has 10 points. You can add or remove points using the count function. I only need these icospheres on the top part of the line. To do that you can use an endpoint selection node. With endpoint selection node, you can pick points from the start, or from the last point. Set start point as 0, and add more points from the end of the line. I want the icospheres to get smaller when it goes to the top. A node called spline parameter can do that. Connect this node to the scale of the instance on points node. Use factor in spline parameter node. It will give a 0 to 1 radius. In this case 0 is small objects and 1 is big object. That means the objects down are small, and when it get to the top it gets bigger. We need our top objects to be small. To get that, we need a map range node. With map range node you can flip the radius 0 to 1, to 1 to 0. Control the object scale, using the minimum and maximum of map range node. For more controls use a coloram node. Use the coloram brightness to control object scale. Coloram will give you finer control on your objects. Now we can organize our nodes. Organizing nodes are very important. Select all the nodes related to the icosphere, and press Ctrl and J to frame the nodes. Press F2 to label the frame. The lines are straight now. It looks boring. We need to give the lines a wiggle effect. To do that, we can use a set position node. Set position node will help you to edit the vertices of the line. But before the set position node, you need to realize the instances. Realizing instances will make every line a separate object, so that you can edit every line separately. To get the wiggle effect on the line, we need to give a random position to every vertices on the line. To do that, we can get a noise texture. Connect the noise texture to the offset of the set position node. Add a math node, and select subtract function. Subtracting 0.5 will recenter the lines to the 3D viewport. Now the icospheres are not aligned to the lines, because the icospheres are instanced before the set position node. To get the icospheres to correct positions, instance it after the set position node. Add a vector math, and select scale function. It will give finer controls to the noise texture. Add more points on the line to smoothens the line. Change noise texture from 3D to 4D. With 4D you can animate the wiggle effect using keyframes. Now we can fine-tune the lines and the icospheres. There is a problem here. The wiggle effect also affecting the z-axis. We don't need that. We need our lines to stay on the ground. We can limit the wiggle effect to the x and y axis only, using a combine XYZ axis node. Connect the noise effect to both x and y axis, and set z to 0. Now it only affects the x and y axis. Now we need to convert the curve into a mesh, and we need to give it a radius too. Add a curve to mesh node, and use a curve circle as its profile. Reduce the resolution and radius of the circle curve. Use a set curve radius node to control the radius of the lines. Connect a spline parameter node to the radius socket. It will give a 0 to 1 radius to the curve. We can flip it using map range node. Also a coloramp to fine-tune the radius. We can give a bit randomness to the icospheres, using a scale instances node. Use this node after instance on points node. Use a random value node, and choose float instead of vector. Connect this node to the scale socket, give very small randomness. We can give some randomness to the position of our objects, using a noise texture on our grid. We already have the nodes for it. Just duplicate and use it. Modeling completed now. We can organize our nodes, and set material to our objects now. Create two materials from the Material tab. Select the right materials from the Set Material Nodes drop-down menu. Give a emission material to the icosphere. Connecting a scene time node onto the noise texture will animate the scene automatically. Use a math node divide function to control the speed of the animation. Press space to play the animation. If you learned something from this video, please give a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.